are live now, I believe. Everyone, welcome back to another track feedback live stream with me and Ned Rush. Hey Ned, how are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah.
It's good to be here.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm just muting the stream on my browser.
That's okay. That's all right. We'll probably get an echo now. Ooh, hopefully, yeah, we're live. Just give it a minute for people to catch up. I think I made it subscriber only mode. I don't know if that was the...
It's a very good way to get people to subscribe.
Yeah, maybe. Probably because I was doing it with you and thought I should capitalise on that.
Yeah, I should maybe remind. I'll remind the Discord.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, this evening we're just going to be listening to tracks that have been submitted by producers from the community. And we have a list of... We've got a good list of 10, at least, I think. Maybe 9. I have got more that we could dive into if we are running out of music, but I think that'll probably be enough. That'll be enough for us. Because it can be quite fatiguing, actually. I don't know if you found this, Ned. Listening to people's stuff and giving meaningful feedback after a while, it can be quite difficult.
Well, that's why I prepared some cold beers.
Yeah, and you're ready with a beer.
Take the edge off.
Yeah.
I won't get tired. I'll just get more excited.
I've just got a glass of water and a piece of nicotine gum in. So.
You're much more sensible than me.
So we'll probably just jump straight into it. We've asked people to submit tunes and share a little bit about the tune and what they might want to gain from us listening to it. So that could be quite helpful. And yeah, I think we'll just jump straight into it, Ned. Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
We're gonna focus on, you know, what worked, what didn't, how you might improve within the context of any additional information that's been given. So yeah, the first up is hopefully this is all going to work seamlessly, but you might have to bear with us for technicals, and chat if it isn't working or you can't hear anything or the levels are off. If you could let us know, that'd be really helpful. Thank you. Any music that we listen to I will link below in the description. I'll put timestamps afterwards. It might take me a while to do that, but I will do it. So cool. All right, let's give this a go then, see if this works. The first tune up is Beat Specific. Ned, have you ever encountered Beat Specific before on your Discord or anything? Or
I can't say I have. No, okay. Doesn't ring a bell. Maybe it will later.
I know that Beat Specific was actually at the Cardiff night.
Oh,
in person. Yeah, he came to see us because he lives there.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah. So,
cool.
This tune is called How Sweet It Was. I know that Beat Specific has won a few of the Busy Bee jungle, like the Amen Warfare things or the jungle warfare things that Busy Bee does. Don't know if you've ever caught any of those.
No, they sound good.
Is it Dubplate Wars? Dubplate Wars.
What's that then? Is that like what is it?
So it's like, you know, Busy Bee, the producer and YouTuber now, and like Akai expert and stuff. He runs like a you can submit tunes to him and he'll do like a bit of a dubplate war, and I think it takes I've never actually caught one live, but a lot of people that I know have like submit tunes, and yeah, he picks his favorite or it's audience reaction, that type of thing, and they get a little medal and stuff. It's pretty cool.
A medal?
Yeah, wow. a Dubplate Wars medal. Yeah, seriously, okay. It's cool.
Nice.
Hey, Prince. Cool. All right. So yeah, this is Beat Specific. How Sweet It Was. And Beat Specific, we haven't got any like specific issues or anything. So I guess this is just going to be like open feedback, Ned. Okay, cool. Let's roll it. Oh, sorry, that's half. You can hear that, yeah? You got that? Did you get a level there?
Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Great.
I'll start again.
say it's not the signs to take it deeper. Hey, hey, hey. Yeah. Who wants some bubble, bubble, who wants some bubble? Hey, who wants some bubble, bubble, who wants some bubble? Hey, who wants some bubble, bubble, who wants some bubble? Who wants some bubble, bubble, who wants some bubble? Roll with the rhythm and roll with the groove. Hey, make your body bounce, make your body move. Hey, who wants some bubble? Hey, who wants some bubble? Hey, who wants some? Hey, who wants some? Hey, hey.
As I wake up in your arms tonight, I realize how sweet it was. Then I pray the Lord of the heaven for this night not to ever end.
Yeah, very nice. I'll have to make sure it doesn't just like jump onto the next tune. Very nice. Beat specific, how sweet it was. What are you saying to that one, Ned?
It's a classic,
Yeah.
but it's brand new. All the classics are in there. I was really impressed by it. If that's all made with samples from different songs, or regardless of where they come from, get them all in tune.
It? Yeah.
Get them all in tune like that is not easy.
Yeah, I think Beat Specific has got chops as well, and like has been making music for a long time, I reckon.
Right.
Or at least that's what I remember talking about when at the Cardiff gig. But yeah, I really like that kind of. It can be really difficult to, like, when you've got a load of different samples, to make them work together. Don't you find?
Yeah.
And that's an art in itself, isn't it?
Yeah. It's really nice to hear some saxophone as well. In classic.
Yeah, it felt very soulful, actually.
There's not enough saxophone.
Yeah.
In jungle and drum and bass, I think that kind of works very nicely.
It was a nice, like, jazzy vibe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought, actually, and I thought the breaks were, like, they were interesting without getting like breaking the spell of the tune, if you like. There wasn't too much. It wasn't verging on, like, breakcore at any point. It was kind of sticking to the nice jungle.
Yeah, it was
trope.
exciting. It was a nice opener, definitely. It set the tone.
I mean, like, feedback wise, Beat Specific didn't provide any, like, any notes for us to talk to. So I think it's banger, really, isn't it? It's not much to say. More for next
Pretty
time.
much an instant banger.
Yeah.
I just want to say right now to our viewers that due to technical reasons, I will be listening to these tracks in mono. But they still sound really good, even in mono.
That's what
I can't listen to them in stereo, unfortunately, which is a bit annoying. But
they say you should do that, don't they? I mean, well, we don't want to open a can of worms here. There's lots of.
I've never done it, but I've heard that I've heard good reasons why you should. But
yeah,
there's lots of good things that I've heard that you should do that I've never done. I just ignore them.
Yeah.
But I'm sure. Yeah. I think it's for phase things.
Can be, yeah.
If you mono something and there's that's where you can hear phase things. Things can just suddenly vanish because they're cancelling each other out through phase issues.
Yeah,
but
it can be good for, like, EQing as well. Like, if things sound decent in mono, like, EQ wise, there's not too much masking. Yeah, it's more it's more revealing in mono. But again, there's all it's a can of worms. So I don't think we're
not here to open cans of worms.
We're not here to open cans of worms.
We're here to listen to instant bangers.
This is it. We're here to listen to your tunes. So this is one on SoundCloud now. This is by Distant Lands. It's a tune called The Green Light. So, right, there is a possibility I might get an advert. So, if that happens, I'll just mute the thing and we can just talk over it. But this is, if you see anything in the chat, Ned, as well that I miss, if you're keeping an eye on that'd be wicked. Right, The Green Light, Distant Lands, and we have got some notes on this one. Actually, we should probably brief ourselves on these before. I'll just read them. This is from Distant Lands. Hi, Ned and Alex. I've been listening to and mixing jungle and drum and bass since the beginning. Yes, I'm that old, but only started making my own stuff about 18 months ago. It's been great, but a steep learning curve as I'm completely self-taught. But YouTube channels like yourselves have been a great help. Most of my friends moved on from this type of music, so I've been working in a bit of a vacuum. I'm just trying to put some of my stuff out there to see if it's any good or not. I'll be working late on blah blah blah. This is I don't need to read any of that stuff, but so I guess it's a kind of bit of a validation and just to, like, for someone else to hear it, get that, sense that you're not kind of you're just making get a bit of outside feedback from someone. So, this is The Green Light by Distant Lands. Go.
Let's go.
reaching towards something out there in the dark.
Yeah, very nice. That was Distant Lands, The Green Light. So, yeah, I've got a few thoughts on that one, Ned. How about you?
Yeah, you go first.
Yeah, so I really like the atmosphere and kind of like the build up at the beginning. I thought that was, you know, really quite enveloping, and we're being drawn into you know, the listening experience and everything. Nice kind of pads and ambient sounds, and I enjoyed the break coming in. You know, it felt like a sense of momentum was building. And then the drop itself, or the switch into kind of the amen rolling pattern, and the sub bass line was good, was solid. I thought maybe it went on a bit too long, and some of the parts, especially towards the end, you could probably condense it down a little bit, and maybe half some of the sections in length, just to make it a bit more concise. And maybe some of the sounds were a bit dry as well. I thought they could benefit from, you know, some spatial effects, reverb or delay or something, even if it was quite subtle. You know, when you kind of have a sound that just kind of, sometimes it can really work if you get something that just comes out of context. But I think depending on like the mood you're trying to create, it can be jarring in a good way, but sometimes not. And it's nice to have things kind of softened by a little bit of spatial effects, you know, or to give them a sense of depth in the mix. I don't know what you. Yeah, I guess it's quite hard in listening in mono to hear those things, but
yeah, I can't comment on spatial effects. I'm listening mono. It's got lots of sounds in that I like, classic breaks and soft muted woolly bass.
Yes.
I have a feeling I'm probably going to enjoy all of these tracks because they're all made using my favorite ingredients.
Yeah.
I agree that for considering how long it was, it maybe if it needs to be that long, there's room for it to go in more directions, I think.
Yeah.
It really felt a little bit like maybe that there were 3 sections that went round twice.
Yeah.
And then it was over, and they were all quite long.
Yeah.
Now, so suggestions for what you could do: either add more things in, add more sections, or do a little bit more with the sections that you have. But it wasn't boring.
No, not at all.
It wasn't like, oh, this track's going on a bit. It was more sort of like, I just maybe found myself sort of looking away a little bit. In my ears, if that makes sense. Very,
very well put. Yeah, I completely. Yeah,
I mean that's kind of fine. It like again, it's sort of like what do people want to do if you want to make something that sort of maybe does just work nicely a little bit more at the back in the background and doesn't require your full attention, then you know, that's totally fine.
I think you can, like, just to speak to what you're saying, like about if you are going to have things that are really hypnotic and that are, you know, they're meant to be almost psychedelic in how long they're going on for. And they're meant to be repetitive and draw you in and kind of trance-like, if you like. It's though it can be those really subtle changes, like you can add like little percussion layers and stuff, and little just things to kind of layer the sound up a bit and take to, you know, bring the tension up and down a bit. I think that can be a really maybe that could be something for Distant Lands to try. I think Distant Lands has just come in the chat actually, so
you might have to rewind to
hear
that's the but, if you've got sort of like, so maybe if you've got like a handful of sections, a handful of ideas, and maybe you're kind of like, I don't really know what else to add, then that's a good time to take what you've got and just sort of change it a bit, like almost kind of remix like a previous section, so that when you bring it back, you're not kind of repeating it, you're referring back to it, but it's been embellished slightly.
Yeah.
Like you've just made a few little changes here, and then you know, when the listener comes back to it, they're like, oh, we're back at this bit. Oh, but it's slightly different.
Yeah.
You're maintaining
like context.
You're maintaining context, but sort of changing the attention, the focus.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you sort of come back to a section, it can just feel a little bit like, oh, we're just back here again.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing. But if you're concerned about that, then that's a good reason to go, well, we don't just want to come back here. Let's come back here, but just move everything around a little bit, or turn everything upside down or something.
Yeah, I think
very weird way of explaining things.
I know. I get like, I think sometimes it can be a bit like a film. You know, like in a film, like every scene has an intention. There is a very clear they're supposed, you know, the idea is that there is a clear idea of that scene is integral to the story, and it's not included if it doesn't have, you know, weight in the storyline. I think the same can be true in music. That
I absolutely love thinking about. I love to think songs are just little movies.
Yeah.
I just love to think that that's what it is.
Yeah, and like maybe you can like, and I think the samples and stuff in this one really lend itself, and with a lot of electronic music, because it's like it's abstract in a lot of the time, you know, because it's not made on like real instruments if you want, or it could just the sonic possibilities are much more than they are just maybe with traditional acoustic instruments, but you really can make it like a little film, you know. But yeah, I enjoyed that. That was that's the second track I've heard from Distant Lands on one of these feedback streams. A good job. Don't know if Distant Lands is about still, but yeah, enjoyed that.
I'm just sort of looking at the chat, and I'm wondering if now is the time for me to buy haptic feedback earbuds.
Why is that?
Because someone said well, sorry, I'm trying to find it. Would be great on it. It does hit hard if you've got haptic headphone drivers. What on earth is that? What are haptic headphone drivers? Do I need them in my life?
Who said that?
Are they headphones that shake, like physically shake? Whoever said that, please.
Oh yeah, no, it's that's my mate Ben, Wagon FM. Yeah.
What are haptic
I don't
drivers
know what he's talking
in your
about
headphones,
there,
please? I want to know about them. Send a link to morekicksthanfriends@gmail.com for haptic headphone drivers. Thank you.
So okay, so we're on to, I think it's Dawn of Infinity. Dawn of Infinity. Hang on. This is it's Sinjin Hawk, Dawn of Infinity. I think this is a remix, Radiant Light Unit remix. Oh no, the artist. Sorry, I'm getting confused. This is Radiant Light Unit. Yeah, and the track is it's a remix.
I can see you moving around. I can see you moving around the thing.
Yeah, we're in Excel at the moment, or we're in Google Sheets, and we've got like all the tracks. So, so yeah, you can see the one Radiant Light Unit, and the track is Dawn of Infinity by Sinjin Hawk. I think it's a remix. Would love some mix master advices. So, Ned, you're listening in mono. I'm in stereo. Yeah, so you can comment from a phasing and and frequency distribution perspective, and I can just comment on the stereo. Yeah. Okay,
I'll do my best.
Dawn of Infinity. Yes. That was Radiant Light Unit, Sinjin Hawk, Dawn of Infinity, Radiant Light Unit remix. I've got some thoughts on the mix and master on that, maybe. Ned?
Sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, like what the chat was saying, get some good comments on that. This is tough. Skull Candy Crusher Evo from Wagon FM. Love those horns. Very creative. Lots going on from Gres. This definitely sounds like a movie. It did a bit, didn't it? It sounded like potentially like going to fight a boss or something like that. Those horns kind of reminded me of that tune in Kill Bill by the Japanese producer. You know that one?
I do. I haven't seen Kill Bill for a while, but I think I
yeah. It's like the kind of that's like got like guitar in it. Yeah, had a kind of like a touches of that at points. But yeah, like so, just specifically on the mix and master, I thought, yeah, it sounds it's in your face, and it's pretty like devastating on the drop and stuff like that. And I really like the kind of weird vocal intro. I don't know, I've never heard the original, but I thought that was kind of, it was intriguing from the start, wasn't it? Would you agree, Ned? Didn't know where it was going to go.
No, I didn't know where it was going to go, and I was very surprised. I enjoyed it very much. It's very playful, sort of game show rave.
Yeah.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Yeah. I was like, and we're through to the next round.
It was like that, yeah.
It's very fun. I kind of thought, I was, sometimes you can really switch up a song in the middle of the song, and it can be a terrible idea, or it can be the best thing that can happen for a song. And somehow that worked. I was kind of thinking, all right, this is nice. This kind of maybe like kind of hyper pop. When everything's all pitched up these days, I kind of think, oh, this is hyper pop. But then I'm a bit out of the loop. But it's sort of hyper pop intro, and then suddenly it's like, oh, now we're here now. But it all kind of works. It all gelled together very nicely.
It did, yeah.
Mix wise, I think it's very punchy. I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it. It could have been longer. I could have listened to another minute of that.
Yeah. That was only 2 minutes.
We've gone from a really long song to a song that wasn't long enough.
I did think maybe the did was a bit, that was probably too loud, and potentially might be affecting the overall loudness of the track itself, actually, because it was really quite like noticeably louder than everything. And sometimes when you got these it was quite transient rich as well, and sometimes these things can like really trigger a limiter before the generally like you want the kick and the bass to be like you want that to smack you in the chest, and like you want to feel the weight of that. You kind of want to feel those elements the most. And I thought maybe if you bring down that kind of plucky stab sound, you could probably get more headroom on the rest of the stuff in the final master, because it sounded like it was pushed quite hard into a limiter. I don't know. It's difficult to kind of like know exactly what's been done, but I think if you bring down that plucky sound, then you'd have space to push the rest. The track would benefit in terms of impacts, I reckon. That's my thoughts as on the mix and master only, not creative feedback necessarily. But
yeah, I don't really have many comments on the mix and the master. I think it all sounded pretty good in mono.
That was good. Yeah, you checked the mono. Sounded good in stereo.
I had a nice time listening to it. It was fun. It was sort of it's playful and daring somehow.
Yeah, that was good.
Where did it come from, and how does it work? It somehow it sort of worked. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like,
good job.
Some more of that.
Good job, Brady.
Make more tunes like that, but just not the same one. But make the same tune, but a different one again, and make more of them. But like,
Wagon FM said it did sound like a game show that doesn't exist yet with Roy Walker and Ian Wright.
It had a bit of a game show thing about it, like, I don't know, Strike It Lucky sort of with kind of growl bass.
Roy Walker on pingers. There we go. So this next one is Posh Kink, and this is I think this is a tribute to you, Ned. A taste of Ned. So
No one wants a taste of me.
they can get that on your YouTube channel, I think, can't they? Pretty good taste. This submission is not very representative of anything. It's just for fun and doesn't matter if you include it or not. As long as at least one of you listen to it, I'm happy. So, well, we're going to listen to it now. Yeah. We'll both listen to it. Ned will listen in mono, I'll listen in stereo. So this is Posh. Am I doing the right one here? Yeah, I am doing the right one. This is right. Posh Kink, a taste of. Now I'm just going to play it because we might get an ad on this. We've just got a brief ad because I'm not a SoundCloud Pro member. Are you a SoundCloud Pro user, Ned?
No, not at all.
No. So
I don't really use it enough to warrant the time.
Yeah,
in fact,
I
just
it's like 80 quid a year.
Is it? I suppose.
Yeah.
I've actually just quit my Bandcamp Pro as well.
I think if you're like sending stuff to DJs a lot, it's worth it. But I don't.
Yeah, I've
really
been spending
do that.
more time on it, but I don't really use it. I don't use it to put my own music. I put a couple of tracks on there recently just because I was like, I like these tracks, but I don't want to sell them.
Yeah. It's good for that. It's like audio scrapbook. I think it's quite like I kind of think of SoundCloud as a bit.
Yeah, I'm not really into it. I'm a bit sort of old school with SoundCloud. I like the idea of it being literally a music sharing thing, like it was when it started. It was like just a quick way to send someone something that you've made, and then it became all a little bit corporate and wants your full attention constantly. And and I prefer a little bit more of the DIY aspect of it, which it still is. Obviously, it's still like that, but.
Yeah, we used to share mixes, or like our engineer would share mixes with us using SoundCloud. And that was the first time I'd ever encountered it. Actually, was having like a private link to listen to a mix of a
and I think probably it's worth having one. I think it's worth everyone having one because if you do get your foot in the door in certain corners of the industry, that's kind of what they're expecting.
Yeah, for sure.
They want a SoundCloud link. It's sort of normalized. That corner.
Yeah, it's like send a SoundCloud link with download enabled. It's what everyone expects to get, I think, because everyone's on it. So, but yeah, so this is the tune. This is only 1 minute long, so okay. But a Posh Kink, a taste of Ned. Let's made for fun using a sample of our favourite Lord and Saviour. Only 1 minute long, not even mixed properly. So there we go.
Raving my tits off.
So that's all we got from that one.
I think a minute of that is all you need.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Sorry. Well, I thought that was pretty good. I'd like to hear that developed, wouldn't you?
I forget that things I've said are on the internet forever until I'm long gone.
I thought that worked pretty well, that sample. Can you remember what video that was from? I wonder.
I've got no idea.
I know this isn't the first time I've heard you sampled in I know that User Friendly Sounds has sampled you quite a few times as well. There's a fly in
true.
here. There's a fly in here. Do you remember that
the
one?
Fly, yeah.
The fly.
Yeah.
But okay, sample aside then, what we
I quite liked it. There were times where I was a little bit like, what time signature is this in? I quite liked that it was very sort of duff. Again, it's sort of quite fun. It's sort of heavy without being obnoxious.
kind of like a 6/8 compound time feel, I reckon.
It was almost like a sort of switch up between,
like triplet feel to it.
Yeah, like a kind of slow hard step, maybe.
Yeah. I thought it was actually compositionally sounded pretty on point with like in terms of it was banging.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear that developed maybe with some different. You probably
do another 3 minutes or another 2 minutes.
Yeah, and have some more mad bass sounds would be quite cool. Some more. I think you could have fun doing some resampling and stuff with that. That's really good though. That's the first time I've heard anything from Posh Kink, and I think it's got potential, especially if it was made specifically for this track for our collab here.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, it could be a troll. They could be trolling us.
No, I don't. I think
anyone who's sampling. Like a taste of Ned Rush really should actually be 30 seconds, not even a minute. I think no one needs a taste of Ned Rush for more than 15 seconds.
It's an honour to be sampled, Future Wild Machine says, and I think that's pretty. Yeah.
It's creepy. I think it's creepy.
But yeah, that was Posh Kink, a taste of Ned, and okay, so we're on to Nim Sample. This is what the tune. Sorry, I must get the artist name right. It's before Exchequer. Okay, and the track is called Nim Sample. You can see that, can you, on our shared spreadsheet?
Nim Sample.
Yeah. Got some notes on this one as well. I feel like this track is too short. But outside of just looping what I already have, I have no ideas on how to expand it. What do you think? I think you've probably got some good ideas here. Anyway, Ned, so should we hear it and then let's
find out. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. It's only 1 minute 19, yeah? So it's just like an initial idea, I think. But let's go.
I am Caligari.
There we go.
Wow, grungy.
That was pretty grungy, wasn't it? Have you got some thoughts on that, or like I've got a couple of thoughts. Do you want to go first?
No, you go first.
Me first. Yeah. So it was kind of giving me like early Aphex vibes. But I try not to necessarily draw. You don't want to really draw comparisons too much. I don't think it's very helpful sometimes. But I think this is Zedwire in the chat here.
Hello.
Hey Zedwire. or Exchequer as the artist's name is. So it was very, we had like we've got this like really compressed, distorted sound. It's quite claustrophobic, and it sounds very, pushed. And I think the obvious thing for like expanding any kind of musical idea is to just do the opposite thing. And what I thought might be worth trying as a way to kind of like add musical ideas to it, but would be something that's much more spacious and expansive in terms of like a sound, like a pad, or something that sounds big compared to this quite mechanical, big and slow, like almost like an atmosphere or some kind of emotive pad line or emotive harmony that's going on, that's much more distant and bigger than this quite distorted, compressed, intense feeling, that's coming from the main sound. Also, there's one bit where it almost suggests that it wants to go, like double time. That could be a really nice thing to just explore as well. You could go like really quite hardcore on it, almost like full on techno. Or I think just contrast can be the best way to kind of open up a musical idea. And those are my thoughts on how I would certainly expand something like that. How about you, Ned?
I agree with everything you said. I quite liked it. When I started playing around with samplers when I was in my very late teens, the first thing I did was put drum loops through distortion, and it was like my favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, they sound so much fun. So that gave me a bit of a fuzzy feeling.
Did it? Yeah, reminded me.
I was in the pub maybe a month or two ago with some old music friends of mine, and one of them pulled out his phone and played me this band that he liked, and who were like now, but they're really going for this very early 90s kind of I don't want to maybe a bit Nine Inch Nails, but the very sort of like early 90s kind of distorted drum loop type sound.
Yeah.
Or of like, I don't know if like I'd have to go and look up some other bands that we mentioned but he was like, can you hear how this sounds a little bit like it's maybe from 1991?
Yeah.
And I was like, it's because of that sort of guitar pedal drum loop sound that is like kind of quite nice, because it really kind of does pull harmonics absolutely out of everything and turn them into these squashed bricks.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we've got 1 minute and 19 seconds of this, right?
That's right.
And if you're kind of thinking, I don't really know where to go, I'm sort of stuck with this now, then exactly as you said, that's the perfect time to just actually almost write an entire different piece of music entirely and just do this really, really hard transition.
Yeah.
From that to this new bit, and then somehow try and find a way to glue them back together at the end. And then thinking about sort of referring to what I was saying earlier about like when you have like a handful of sections and you're trying to make them all work, then there comes a point where you can sort of go back to a section and you're just repeating yourself, or you can go back to a section because you're literally referring to it in the past, but now at this point in the song.
Yeah.
So if you've kind of got this, I can sort of almost see it in my head, this kind of like, and it's very much like as you described, you start with this very sort of heavy, distorted, claustrophobic percussion thing, somehow either do a hard transition or move gradually into something that sounds very, very large and ethereal.
Yeah.
And then either bring them back together and make it work, or do another really, really, just as you've forgotten almost about the previous section, then you bring it back, and then it kind of makes a bit of an impact that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, for me, I'm really kind of thinking about it in a sort of like narrative structure. But almost in a kind of like a sort of non-linear narrative structure. It's like we're here, and then next chapter, now we're over here 100 miles away in another with a whole different thing, and like, but then in the third chapter, the two come together.
Yeah, nice.
And it works. somehow.
Like
It's
sonata
relevant.
form or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are all sort of like, for me, they're all just like little. I just think of them as little devices that are good things to sort of appropriate from other media,
Yeah.
as it were. It's
This
like
is-
if you, there's no reason why you can't read something in a book, see something in a film or a television program or anything, and just the way that a beat, like in movies, they call it beats, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the timing of things and when they happen and why they happen and how and stuff like that. And there's no reason why you can't, if that happens and you feel a certain way, I can't see any reason why you can't nick it and do the same thing in music. I mean, music is like that anyway. In many ways, a lot of filmmakers are cutting movies and writing stuff to music anyway.
Yeah.
It's the other way around.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not going to use that analogy too much throughout this show, but it's
I
one
think
that
it's a
use
good
lot.
one. I don't necessarily think it's quite. I think it's one of the best things you can, or one of the best habits you can get into as like a music producer or as a musician or anything, or as anyone creative, is to look outside of music for things that you can apply to music that haven't been applied to music before. Extra musical ideas. How people producers talk about art, like John Hopkins. I've heard him talk about how he views music, or his music. It's almost architectural. I think that's really, really interesting when you start thinking. Start taking inspiration from things that are not obviously connected to music, but when you start to think about them and how they might apply to music, or how you might represent them musically, then that's where new ideas come from. That's where new concepts come from. As much as technology or from other types of music, it's about the ideas, isn't it? It's about the ideas.
Or your interpretation of another.
Yes, indeed. Which is probably more important, actually, isn't it? Your own take on the world, your own take on how different human constructs connect to one another, or could connect to one another potentially.
Yeah. So I mean, like, even though that's a minute and 20 seconds, I'll be honest, I think if it was 5 minutes, I would be a little bit like, this is a little bit too much. Something else has got to happen. And so that is a good time to, if you want to turn it into something else and you're not too sure what to do, it's a good opportunity to just think, I'll just write something completely different and just bolt them together.
Oh yeah, like that. Yeah.
And see if it works. Because it can work.
Like Radiohead as a band do that kind of thing very well. Just as like one band who blend texture or contrasting textures and contrasting kind of musical textures, both thematic and actually, in terms of sound. I think they're a really good musical outfit that I always have as a touchstone for. And they're not necessarily electronic, but they do use electronic, things very often. But I think they do that kind of thing really well.
Well, Paranoid Android's quite a good example.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah,
because Paranoid Android starts off as this sort of it's very nice acoustic. I mean, it's a bit dark, musically it's a bit dark, but texturally it's very sort of just this kind of acoustic thing, and then suddenly it's
yeah. And then you've got like this choral piece, haven't you, in the middle,
And it ends with this big kind of and that sort of that's like a brilliant song. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was kind of like 3 different ideas that they just kind of went, oh, let's just put these together.
Yeah. I think it was. I think that is potentially the story behind it.
And I quite like that. I have no idea if that's true or not, but I've heard that in reference to other songs, and I'm kind of like, yeah, definitely do it. Definitely, if you can take 2 very disparate,
disparate,
and put them together, and they can become one thing that means something.
If you've got another tune, maybe if Exchequer has another tune that's completely different, he's probably, or they've probably already got the idea that can be just combined as already now.
Yeah.
So, cool. I think there's lots to speak around that. But
can I go get another beer?
Yeah, go for it. That's fine. That's.
I'll be
please.
right
I'll catch
back,
up with
viewers.
the chat. Yeah, I'll catch up with the chat. yes, I'm just I hope that was useful, Zed Wire. If that indeed was your June. How are you all doing this evening? Yeah, pleasure. That was quite good. That was good to talk to, actually. You know, sometimes like even the shortest ideas can suggest really big concepts, can't they? It can be and not necessarily having everything finished and put together can be a really great opportunity to like add more to the canvas, I suppose, if you like. Gres, thanks so much. Yeah, it was okay. I'm just pleased to get through them sometimes. The main thing is to just do an hour of music, even if it's not necessarily. I don't necessarily know how it's going to come out. We're just talking about my live set the other week, Ned, on Sigil Radio.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't check it out yet. Where can I listen to that somewhere?
Yeah, I think I reposted it on my community.
I'm going to listen to that.
And if you go to Sigil Radio, if you yeah,
is it in your Discord?
It will be, yeah. I think it is on. Oh, maybe I haven't posted it there, but I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you. Give them a follow. They've got some good stuff.
Yeah.
So, hey Alex. Yeah, thanks for everyone's words as well. Pretend passing, they're good points too. So yeah, we're ready for the next one.
Yeah.
This is RJ Mccre. I know RJ Mccre. And this is called Ischium Fork. Right, this is I think this is a SoundCloud one. So I've got some comments on this one. Alex has a fairly good idea of where I'm at. General issues with the arrangement and sound selection, musical ability, etc., skill issue. So I think RJ Mccre is actually has really sick ideas and is like a rich array of different sounding music. So I'd be interested to hear what you think, Ned, too. So everything's always different. This is Ischium Fork by RJ Mccre. Hopefully we don't get an ad.
You search for your inform.
Is that the ad?
Yeah, it's just an ad to get through. Yeah, they're shelling the ads now. I'll get one like every other song. So, it was downloadable. That's annoying. I'm just going to download it.
Is there a SoundCloud ad blocker or something?
I think it could potentially be that it was.
Actually, what am I saying? Don't use ad blockers, people. Don't use ad blockers because then I don't get my YouTube. My YouTube ad revenue.
Ad blockers. Oh yeah, it was a FLAC file. That's why. I think I can play it here. Give me 1 second. Hopefully this works.
Got VLC.
Got that? Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
This is Ischium Fork. Sounds like a bit of a garage flavour. Oh, sorry. Did that cut out for you?
Oh no.
So I'll carry
Where
on.
did it go?
Let's go for the drop. Sorry, everyone. Okay. Yeah, very nice. That was RJ Mccre and let's go get the tune. Ishi and Fork. Nice little garage number there. Quite understated, quite rolling, soulful. My type of garage, to be honest. I like the more like the darker, more burial-esque leaning stuff. What are you saying on that one, Ned? Shall I continue, or is there...
You continue. That's fine.
I really like the drop, and the kind of the bass line was very compelling. I thought particularly with the kind of the drum pattern that was going on as well. Really like the kind of chewy drum sound, the chewy kind of
It was quite chewy.
It was, wasn't it? It was like it was quite like tactile. It was like had a tactile ASMR feeling to it, didn't it? It's like you know when you play, you're a guitar player, when you play with a wah pedal, it's like you can't help but want to do it with your mouth sometimes. Do the sound.
Yeah.
Well,
Someone says I'm frozen.
You are frozen. Yeah, thank you.
What, my face is frozen or my voice is frozen?
No.
Or I'm frozen completely.
It's all right. Let me give me a second. I'm just going to try and sort that out.
Oh, well, maybe I can do. Can people still hear me? Or
I think people can still hear you. Yeah, I can still hear you. So
I've actually just worked out I could have been listening in stereo the whole time if I just plugged my headphones. If I just plugged my headphones straight into my computer and told Zoom to use the computer as the speaker and then use my mixer as the mic, I'm an idiot.
I think I don't know why I'm not. People might just have to bear with what I try and sort.
Turn my camera off and turn it back on again.
Yeah,
maybe
try
that.
that. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe my camera froze. There were lots of comments there.
Don't know why you're not coming through now. That's annoying.
Well, maybe I can. If people can hear me, I can give some of my thoughts whilst you're trying to fix that.
Yeah. The face that you've frozen on is quite.
What's the face that I've frozen? I'll find out later.
It's quite a thoughtful, pensive feedback, Ned.
I'm getting ready for my feedback.
I don't know
Feedback face. Is it like this?
it's your feedback.
Oh, you can't see. You can't. I was doing an impression of the imaginary frozen face, but you can't see it anyway, so there's no point.
No, there's I don't know. I'll try and sort this out.
This is why YouTube's so fun.
Okay, you're back on now. I don't know what's going on with that then. But yeah. Do you want to carry on talking? I'll try and sort it out.
Yeah. So, there were some things that So again, I'm listening in mono.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like all the drops were really good. I'm always impressed when someone does a compelling drop because
it was a good drop. It was a good drop.
I just can't do them. I don't know how. It's just not something that's in my I don't know, vocabulary. I never really think it's just.
I
not
don't
something
think
I
that's
think about.
true. I think I've heard you do drops before.
I'm not
do drops.
Well, but I'm not thinking about it. I'm not thinking that it's a drop.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking I've got to get from here to here. I'll stick that in there. That'll do. But there are sometimes you hear one and it's like, oh, it's quite satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that I thought about, which is a good example for stuff that we've talked about with the previous tracks,
mm-hmm.
but also in itself actually could be a little bit better, was that as the song progressed, it was going back to previous sections that we'd heard already, but switching them up a little bit and changing them up. But I remember hearing like bits of the drums had been pulled out. There was a little bit of like what I might call that kind of like sort of dub reggae mixing where you're just pulling things in and out and you're sort of chopping it up, but you're doing it with the mix of it, and then it all kind of wraps up again at the end with, like, if I'm remembering right, like an entirely new section.
Yeah.
Or a new, at least one new idea, wasn't it? One new layer was in there that was kind of like, oh, so I'm back here again, but now there's like a new thing. And that's just like, I just think it's just really good way to sort of take a handful of ideas and apply them to a structure,
Yes.
And but at the same time I was a little bit like, oh, maybe there's room for a little bit more of that. I kind of thought the chewy drums after that long, I don't want to be like an EQ bro, but there was after a while I was a little bit too much in the high mids now.
Okay
For too long it's a little bit too much of this sort of, I don't know. I can't spot frequencies, but when you're getting into, it's Zoom's thinks I've put my hand up.
I think I've got you working again, but it's like I don't know quite. You're a bit out of focus at the moment, so you might need to go into focus again. Thank you.
I've got what I was saying.
The EQ,
like a
the
little
EQ,
bit, that kind of chewy drum sound I liked very much.
Mm-hmm.
Had a lot of character, but all the way through, after a while, I was a little bit like, it's actually quite a little bit much in the, I don't know, sort of like mids to highs.
It was maybe a bit harsh or a bit.
It got a little bit harsh after I maybe pulled down a couple of whatever that fundamental frequency is. Maybe just pull it down a little bit because it did have some texture and some character, which I liked about it, and it did complement the. It complemented to the vibe. Looks like you're done talking, so we'll lower your voice in 1 second. What the hell is Zoom doing? First, it's telling me I've raised my hand, and now it's telling me I've said too much.
So you're out. You're slightly out of focus again. Can you try? Thank you, cameraman. There we go.
Apparently, you can lock the focus on this webcam, but I don't know how to do it. Anyway, that's not important right now. Anyway, I've said my bit.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. No, that's that. I thought. I think that was. All on point. I was kind of trying to sort out camera stuff while you were saying that, but like I did have one thought about the drop, which is like, and sometimes like if you've got a drop in a tune, like don't delay it too much, or not even that. Just like I think like you can. It kind of skirted. It went from like a start to another idea, then to the drop again, or then to the drop. From memory, and I reckon you could just cut to the chase with a track like that, and go, and just make more of the drop. That first drop.
I think that's maybe what I liked about it is that the drop is just kind of it just kind of moves you along. Whereas like I think the reason why I don't do drops is because the expectations are very high if there's a phenomenal amount of build up.
Oh, but I don't like that. I'm not.
No, I don't like
really.
it either. I don't like sort of like 64 bars of.
Yeah. But I like those drops that sneak up on you.
I like quick punchy drops.
I like the ones where like you've just got something going along, and like if you've ever been to like I don't know like a techno night or something, and things are just rolling along, and then suddenly just like a kick drum comes in. And it's just like it's not been made a big deal of. It just it just got bought up in volume, or the same as if you go to like a dub, or like a dub night, where it's just rolling along, and then suddenly just the bass comes in. There's no like big thing. It's just like it happens, and it's awesome. Yeah,
understated. The word you used earlier was understated.
And
I think that's
that's so much heavier for me. I think.
Less is more. Less
is more, man. So okay, so I think we should move on to the next one now. We've got 3 more on the list. And we'll see how we're doing after those 3 if we've got more feedback in us. But the next one is by Ephemeral. This is Violent Night. So hopefully the visualizer works again because it stopped working on your voice, but we'll see. Violent Night. Any thoughts on this one? Yeah, we've got some notes on this one. I've been working on this one a bit too long, and we all know the most fun part is making new things. Very true. I started learning how to use a DAW in January, so mixing the levels can be a bit of a struggle for me. People sometimes describe my music as meandering, so I would appreciate advice on structure as well.
Started making music in January, or he just started making or whatever he's used it in January. So 11 months. This is 11 months. So this is 11 months of someone who's never made music before.
Potentially. Ephemeral. If you're in the
or maybe they just switched to a different software or something.
Maybe, yeah. Or I started learning how to use a DAW, so it's so it could be. There's no more elaboration on that, but.
Mysterious.
Yeah. Bit early for a Christmas song, Future World Machine said. Yeah. I was tempted to make that joke, but
well, we're dressed for Christmas already. We
are Christmas trees.
We're dressed as Santa's helpers. We're gonna go and chop down some wood.
Yeah, that's why we're in this nice woodland scene, this kind of mountain scene. So yeah, Jimmy, I thought that was wicked. That was a good tune. Just going back to a previous comment, but yeah, so this could be a very early producer. Difficult to say, but this is Violet Night, Holy Night. Okay, here we go.
Music. thinking of my life as it is. My music.
Very nice. That was Violet Night by Ephemeral. What do you think of that one, Ned? I thought that was
more
pretty...
saxophone.
More saxophone, yeah.
That's our second saxophone song.
It is, and actually, Ephemeral was in the chat and said,
I see.
Yeah, I've played guitar for many years, though. Well, that was because.
Well, I played guitar for many years, but I wasn't making tracks like that after 11 months, mate. That's pretty good for 11 months.
Pretty good, isn't it? I was actually
slightly jealous
when I was testing everything, testing the setup this evening. I was listening to that one, or it just came on, and like. Yeah, just like the kind of jazz chord progressions. I was like, has this person played all this stuff in? Because this doesn't sound generated or like sampled. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean it's very rich with
very musical
motifs.
Yeah, very like it almost sounds like. Yeah, it's almost like video game music, like Japanese jazz video game music. That level of kind of musicality I was getting from that.
Yeah, with breaks, with classic breaks.
Yeah, with the classic breaks. And
what's not to like?
The choice of synth tones were really lovely too, especially the way they evolved as the piece went on.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I mean, it was actually quite a lot to process.
Yeah.
I did a few riffs on my MIDI keyboard, but a lot of it was done on piano roll. Oh my God, fair play.
Really?
I wouldn't have the patience to do that.
That's mad. Just from like, I wonder how the chord, like, was the harmony kind of put down? Did Ephemeral, how confident are you like with just like seeing the chords on the MIDI roll? Is that the kind of way you do it, and then you just embellish that kind of thing, or is it all just by ear? Because that's very impressive, if so.
I used to like sit with my guitar. You can't see my keyboard now, but my keyboard's there. I would sit with my guitar and I'd fret the note, and then I'd find it there, and I'd fret the other note, find the other one there, and then I'd hold it, and then rewind, hit record, and then punch it in.
Yeah,
I can't really. I'm getting better on like. I can only really see a few scales on the piano keyboard. Like I can't see B flat major or F sharp minor or whatever. But I can see some.
Yeah.
So if I'm in a certain key, I'm all right. But like that's if I'm only playing like diatonically. If I'm going into like other, if you're moving around, changing keys or whatever, I wouldn't have the first idea. Like
I always think like whenever I'm playing anything on a piano, I'm kind of translating it from guitar fretboard. I'm sure it's the same. I picture so much of music on a guitar fretboard, Yeah. So, but yeah, I thought that was excellent.
I would just like to ask Ephemeral if they've done this in Ableton Live, because if you've done this in Ableton Live and you play guitar, you can play the guitar in and then convert the harmony to MIDI. Didn't know if you knew that. Give that a try.
Ableton, yes.
Someone said earlier that had a bit of an Easy Rollers vibe. I could
hear that.
Yeah, that a little bit.
Was it too busy though? I do worry about that. I would say
no, it was too busy. Like it was sort of it was bubbly.
Yeah, ebullient, wasn't it? Ebullient.
It's sort of. I think if it had been a little. Well, I mean, because it does sort of stop and start, and things come in and out, and yeah, I don't know. It was like a fountain.
Yeah. I would say that, like, I wouldn't even worry about trying to make. If you were concerned with that, I would just take that. I would take that concern and maybe carry it forward to the rest of to other pieces of music and leave this one complete, because it's the kind of thing that you can notice about you. You know, if you notice something like that, I've just learned over time that there's no point trying to fix it in the tune and just like carry it forward to the next piece of music you write. Would you agree, Ned, with that kind of sentiment?
Just run that by me again.
So like not
quicker.
trying to make if you make a tune, right, and you're like, this is to this, or is it to this, or I'm not sure about this, or is it too slow, is it too fast, is it the wrong key, whatever. Would you try and fix that, or would you be inclined to now at this point in your musical life to just like do it get it right next time, as it were? So not fix it and just carry it forward.
I really don't know, because I've made tracks like so many different ways now, and I still don't really like have the best way to do it. But I've done things in ways where I've kind of thought, I've reflected on it and thought either I won't do it that way again, or this way worked perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. And sometimes there's been points where I've gotten so far on the track, even though that there's something in there that I've been thinking, I need to fix that. I need to get that sorted. I can't do it right now because I'm too busy thinking about the other things, but that thing I'll have to get back to. And then eventually I get to the point where I'm taking the track out and I'm listening to it, and I've been listening to it for a couple of weeks. And then I go back and think, I need to go and fix that thing. And then I make the time to go and fix the thing, and I can't fix it because I've just gotten used to the fact that it exists now. Yeah, that it's part of it, and anything that I try and change, I end up ruining it, even though that I think the whole time it's been ruining the song. Yeah. So I just leave it and just kind of go, it's done. It's done.
Like, that is the pot. That's the pot. The pot. I'm not going to break the pot. I'll just make another pot.
Yeah, and so I think, to answer your question, to all the things that you're thinking that you need to fix, if you've been listening to it, if you've been working on a song for a certain amount of time and you've been listening to it for a certain amount of time, it maybe doesn't need fixing. But the thing that you think it needs fixing, fix it in the next song.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an opportunity to think. Yeah. It's a good opportunity to think, I'm going to make something else now, and I want to do the thing that I wanted to do in that one, but I didn't.
Yeah.
A bit like Terminator 2.
Yeah, I think it's always good to just it's iterative, and your music evolves over time, and you kind of it's just a series of mistakes, really. So okay,
yeah, maybe. Well, yeah,
something like that. I'm just gonna okay, yeah, but excellent. I thought that was. Sorry, I'm just looking at various different windows here. So we're on to Gres next. This is Broken Tooth. So, Gres, am I pronouncing it right? Is it Gres? It's Gres, isn't it? I know Gres is putting out. Gres has got his own YouTube channel. Ned, I don't know if you've seen that come up. The second one, Gres, yeah, Gres.
I'll have a look though.
Breaksy stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Check it out.
So, I've got some notes on this one as well. This is a track that I'm making for an upcoming tutorial video. It's got a hip hop intro and a D&B drop. I'm mainly looking for feedback about the mix down. I know the snare is slapping. Is it too loud? How about the low end? Cheers, lads. Feel free to roast. So.
This is a roast-free.
Yeah,
space,
I think we've been pretty supportive of everyone, haven't we, and stuff.
We're marinating. We're simmering.
I think you get enough of that from like just anonymous people on the internet.
Yeah.
So,
although I actually, I've been for a very long time, I've been very cynical about people unsolicited feedback on the internet. But these days, I think the culture is actually a little bit more. People are actually a little bit nicer than they were.
I was always worried about doing public stuff, like posting YouTube or social media too heavily because of trolling and stuff. You know, I was worried about it was going to be bad.
Yeah, but I think these days now, people, if someone's like that, the I don't like to use the word the community, but the community does boot them out if people.
Yeah. And people have been very supportive for me too. You know.
Yeah. It's much easier now than it was when I first tried in the mid 2000s, when everyone was was horrible to each other.
Yeah.
No, mate, your track sucks.
Yeah.
Quit now.
So no, we're all just. This is a supportive environment to just buoy everyone up, you know, a rising tide lifts all ships kind of vibe.
And also, like the one thing I will say, because I was a little bit sort of thinking, as we were approaching this, I was kind of thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? But I think actually people coming to this with, you know, potential problems is actually a lot more easier for me than I thought it would be, because I do quite like to sort of find solutions to things to help people move forward.
Yeah.
What they're trying to do, if they're trying to finish something or whatever.
I think, considering what we were saying before we started, like, I think this has actually just been really some really good points been touched on.
Yeah,
I think and it's definitely helpful knowing what people where they're at with it, you know, and I think it's just as fine to listen to finished pieces as it is things that are 1 minute long. You know, there's equal value in the feedback that can be given on both. So yeah, cool. All right. Well, this is Broken Tooth by Gres, and I'll link below to everyone's music and anywhere they can find him on the internet and stuff. So. Including Gres's YouTube channel. So.
They let the corniest shit get the most airplay, you know what I mean? The most unconscious shit get the most airplay. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Keep it real. Keep it real. Talking about keep it real. Don't run up on me, say keep it real if you ain't supporting the real.
Nice. Ted says this is very Portishead. It's not anymore. run up on me, say keep it real if you ain't supporting the real.
nice. I really enjoyed that. That was Gres Broken Tooth. Even despite reading Grace's notes on that, I wasn't expecting the drop when it happened. So I thought that was really clever. Would you agree, Ned?
I was certainly surprised.
I was, yeah.
I was there. I was like, oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, I thought it worked really, really well, actually.
Yeah, it definitely works.
And that's definitely my kind of drum and bass style drop, something that is I thought it was kind of like subtle, deep, soulful. That's kind of definitely my preferred vibe for that type of thing, especially with the piano loop going on. I thought the whole thing was very soulful, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. There was lots of the textures all complement each other.
Yeah, I really like that sample. The vocal sample was very evocative. Yeah,
the vocal sample was good. Sort of understated, a little bit close, very sort of close, quite intimate sounding.
Intimate, yeah.
Not much space. So I would say there's a little bit of room for some space there. So again, we were talking earlier about drops, transitions, moving from one thing to another. I think when those happen, there's a little bit of room for a little bit more. Maybe the crash could have a little bit of reverb on it or something to make it a little bit more kind of like, we got all this stuff happening really close. There could be some things happening really far away.
Yeah.
Where there's room for it, not like too much, because you don't want to take your attention away from everything being quite close, but like little hints of things in the distance.
Yeah.
There's loads of room for that. The intro reminded me of how much I've been playing GTA San Andreas for the last few days.
Yeah.
PlayStation, and listening to all the old early 90s hip hop and like really enjoying it.
Yeah,
and,
that was good. I wonder who the producer or who that is that sample was from. I was trying to place it.
I don't know, but it's I was sort of like, it's been weird playing that game because I'm having nostalgia for when I played it in 2000, because it's 20 years old now.
That's mental, yeah.
It's mental, yeah. And I've been playing it having nostalgia for the first time I played it in 2004, where it was meant to be
nostalgic anyway.
Nostalgic then. So you're having this re-nostalgia.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got all of that sort of really cool old school hip hop on it, which is it's all just breaks, really slow, chopped up slow breaks. I don't really have much more to say. Oh, I think maybe he said in his notes that the snare was a bit loud. Towards the end, I was a little bit like, did he say that? I think the snare is snapping.
I mean, I know the snare is slapping. Is it too much?
I thought maybe
too loud.
By the end, I was a little bit like, actually, it is a little bit loud. Come down maybe 4 dB.
Yeah.
2 or 3, 4 dB.
2, 3, yeah. And I did have some thoughts on the low end actually, because like that the drop, I might even just go back to it. Like, and one thing that is like just disclaimer almost is that it can be quite difficult to get a really good picture of the mix on these feedback streams, just because volumes are all over the place, and like it wouldn't necessarily be how I would critically listen to something, but I just
no. And we're listening in headphones as well, and I'm listening in mono.
Yeah. So if I just play it from the,
keep it real. You ain't supporting the real.
If I just go back a bit further, sorry.
Talking about keep it real. Don't run up on me, say keep it real if you ain't supporting the real.
Because I personally think like you could probably go the break that we've got here, like the tiny break kind of thing. It may not exactly be that, but it's kind of emulating that. I think the kick could have more weight. I think for the kind of the fact it's kind of a 2-step D&B thing, I think the kick could have more like more FUD to it. Because that is the first hit of the drop is that kick. And there's no bass note underneath it. It sounds like to me that kind of comes in, doesn't it? Like boom, So I would be tempted to maybe consider layering a kick with that break pattern, and or potentially having the bass hit on the first note. If you just to give that drop real like hit. I don't know if you.
There are lots of ways to get around that, like the kick and the bass happening at the same time.
Yeah.
I've sort of looked at in various ways and thought about like I remember when I was at university, which is getting a while ago now, but like when I was when I was at university, there were lots of guys there who were talking about tuning their kick drums. They were like sort of tech house guys or whatever, and they were like, "You're tuning your kick drums." And I was like, "What? It's a kick drum. That doesn't make a note. It goes." Like, why? And then they sort of explained it to me, and I was like, "Oh, because like, I sort of see because like you're relying quite a lot on the. So you used the word body.
Mm-hmm.
I would sort of the body, the resonance, the sometimes kick drums can have fundamental frequencies.
Yeah.
And if they are a little bit off with your bass line, okay, now I can see why there's a problem. And so, there are sort of, when I started to think about that, I started thinking, well, how do you get around that? Maybe that's when a little bit of side chaining can be quite useful, because if you get your bass line, so this is the bass line, this is the kick drum. And if the kick drum is kind of pushing down the bass line a little bit for a bit, then you don't get any frequency clashes.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking, well, why not actually just tune your kick drum?
Yeah. So like,
go on.
Yeah, so I think having a weighty kick on that on even if it's just if it's not every kick, but maybe it's like the first kick of every 4 bars or something, or every 2 bars, you could you would just be giving that drop a bit more impact. I think because the bass hits a measure later, like it comes in a measure later, and I think if that kick isn't like I think that would deliver better on the intention of what the music wants at that point.
I think we're maybe coming from the same the same thing of like when the changes happen, they work, but there's room for a little bit more.
Yeah. There is room for more.
You're coming from it more as like of something like it could just hit a little bit harder with the kick drum, and I'm coming more for like maybe like there could be a little bit more space.
Yeah.
The other thing, just to go back to what I said about kicks and bass, is that I think like a lot of people, and again this is like a cultural thing. This is like an online cultural thing. I think a lot of people lean towards certain techniques in electronic music production that aren't always really necessary.
Yeah.
I don't really think you always need to do. You don't always need to sidechain stuff.
No. You shouldn't. I don't think.
I mean, like in really, sidechaining is for very, very certain specific applications. And if you're synthesizing everything, even if it's just with samples, you don't necessarily need to sidechain your bass to come down from your kick.
No.
You could just apply a little bit of attack to the ADSR of the sound, so that it just when you trigger it, it just comes in a little bit later.
Yeah. It's like. Sorry. No. I'm. You're just making me so infused with what you're saying.
Well, I said like because like when you start to get into just purely synthesizing stuff, you've got a hell of a lot more, so much more control over things. Like whereas things like sidechaining, analog compressors, and all this sort of stuff, they're kind of really more for source material where the dynamics weren't good enough. Which is largely because they were performed by a human, and sometimes it's not really. I don't really. If I'm making like really synthy stuff, I don't use a lot of these things at all. I just kind of do the real raw sound design, and then maybe there's a compressor on. Like if I do some drums or something, there's a little bit of compression on there to make them a little bit come to life a little bit, but you do raise like an interesting point about the like how to kind of make an impact without going too far when you move. And I think for this song, I think we've established that it's quite mellow, even though it's like it's upbeat. It's quite mellow. It's quite intimate.
Yes.
So
soulful. It's a roller. You're going to drop that kind of later on or earlier on in the night, aren't you? It's kind of
Yeah, so you don't want any like klaxon horns on it. You don't want any.
no. I did think some dubby bits would be nice. Do you know what I mean? Some
maybe
little
like the
dubby
piano.
bits.
Piano could go off into a little bit of a dub echo.
Yeah,
dub
that would be
type
really
thing,
sick. Yeah,
little bits of. I like to call them sort of like little fireworks or little sort of ornaments. Things just kind of going.
like ear candy sometimes. I think. Yeah,
just little things just ricocheting off into the distance. Like I don't know.
They give like a space to the track, don't they? It's almost like a flare being sent up to let you hear how big the stereo field is. I think.
Yeah, flare. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. It's a dub reggae thing for sure. It's something I took from dub reggae.
I love that stuff.
Changes around with the sense of space. You could have this very, very, very close, crispy drums, and then suddenly the snare just goes.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I thought that was lovely tune, Gres. So I think we got time for one more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised how quickly it's gone, actually.
Yeah, I think if we aim for one more, because my voice starts. I think 10 is a good number. Have we done 10?
Yeah.
We done 10.
According to the spreadsheet, we've done 10. Yeah.
Done 10. Sick.
Well, we'll be on our 10th.
Yeah. Have we done 10? Hang on. 1, 2, 3.
No, we were on number 9, but number 9 is actually number 8.
Okay, so maybe we'll do.
We've got 2 from Caligari. Which one?
I think one. So Caligari, I think Caligari has actually given us 1, but the link was wrong. The first link was wrong. So this is Casavets. Yeah, Casavets. Okay, and then I do have another one if we're feeling it. We'll but yeah, we've got some notes on this one. Whilst I'm going for a disjointed feel here, I'm interested in whether people think the punctuation in this track is on the right side of interesting or so abrupt it's annoying. So
wow.
Okay. Hear this.
Interesting.
Casavets by Caligari.
What's my falsehood is your truth, and vice versa. I'm sad, when I can play the fool, when I can be what people want me to be rather than be myself. You understand? You take the Carol, right?
That was Cassavetes by Caligari. Yeah, some very interesting stuff in there. A lot of breaks work. I kind of like. I know Caligari's music, and I have had it on track feedback streams before, and I think you know Caligari too, Ned.
I do. Well, he's actually a premium patron of the Ned Rush, so
Is he? Right.
of course he's going to be good, isn't he? You know.
Yeah. So he's had the tutorship, the tutoring. He's had the.
We've had some calls, yeah.
So.
Yeah, go on.
I really love. Whenever I hear their stuff, I really love the texture of the breaks, like the processing that's gone on. Because I know there's a lot of producers that we kind of have talked about that we're both into, and I think that really shines through, like the textural quality, like the processing, I guess, that's been applied. But like the break work is really interesting, and also like interesting rhythmically and like musically, but also from a timbral perspective. I really like the way it sounds. It feels almost, if you know what I mean, like the quality of the sound. Yeah, and that was demonstrative of it.
Yeah, I'm listening in monos, and someone said, that they liked the panning on the drums, which I can't hear.
Oh yeah, the drums were being panned. It kind of reminded me of Ski Mask or something. And I know, again, Ski Mask is a producer we've spoken about.
But first of all, I'm never ever going to. I'm probably never ever going to get bored of people chopping up amens and think breaks. It's just sort of like it's a DNA thing now. I'm just kind of like I'm never going to get bored of the idea of people approaching that as the lead instrument in something.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the focal point. I think what Caligari's done here, which I find quite interesting, is this sort of, well, and first of all, that level of choppage is at like a mid-tempo, medium tempo, about 130-ish. and it kind of works. But also, there's this huge ethereal stuff going on behind it, which is it's kind of like Clanad breakcore garage.
Yeah, I really like that. I was going to comment on the ambient.
I'm a big Clanad fan because I'm an 80s child.
Yeah, I love.
But like all that sort of ethereal, everything's just so wow.
Choral. It's like church-like. It's like a cathedral or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Spiritual.
Spiritual. Yeah. Celtic.
yeah. Although I, whilst I haven't made many mixed comments, I will make one right now. And actually, that sort of but again, I'm listening in mono, so maybe I'm wrong. But like the ethereal stuff, maybe in places wasn't quite there. There was a lot of the breakbeat choppage in the main focus, which was very nice. And then I could hear the ethereal stuff coming back, but I was kind of thinking, oh, that's maybe touch louder, touch louder.
Yeah.
Or maybe everything else a touch quieter. I don't know. But I kind of like I like that. The idea of this very ambient choppage, mid-tempo choppage stuff with this big ethereal ambient stuff. I think it's kind of cool.
It's I mean, it could from a.
I haven't really heard anything like it, really. Actually,
a contrasting perspective. It's like it just works, doesn't it? You've got these very fast rhythmical ideas against big flowing, expansive soundscapes, and it's the contrast of the two. The two's together, or the two one against the other. And
the thing about the ambient wash, for want of a better term, is that it really it encourages you to listen harder. Like the whole point of like the word ambient, or like Brian Eno's idea of the word ambient, is that your imagination kind of has to fill the gap, because you can't really hear all of the details. So you kind of, and that just stimulates the imagination even more. So I enjoy stuff like that. I can take all of Brian Eno, but that was a good idea that he came up with.
Yeah. That I thought that was great work. Another banger from Caligari. Cool. Should we have one more to close with, or
whilst we're here and he's here, we should ask him for the two of us to go and play one of his nights in London.
Caligari. Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah. Which night is that, or can we not say?
I'm gonna rope him into helping me do a More Kicks Than Friends in London at some point anyway. But
it's been said live on the Human Synthetics.
Ted, I know you're watching.
YouTube
if
channel.
you ever need a couple of people, me and Alex will do it.
For sure, yeah. Have controllers will travel.
Have control. Have MacBook Air will travel. Cool. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, I think we could do one more, or are we done?
Sure, I don't mind. Yeah, I'm happy to do one more. Yeah.
Happy. Okay. So this was actually sent by a patron of mine for the last track feedback stream, and I didn't get to it. I will just say here, actually, if anyone's watched this and you're like, oh, I sent you music, but you're not listened to it yet, I'll do another feedback stream before the end of the year. And I'll just mop up anything that people have sent me then. So apologies if I haven't got round to it. And thank you everyone for submitting more music than I have time to listen to, or Ned and I have time to listen to.
Someone said earlier that they'd really like it if this was every week.
Yeah.
I think that would be quite a lot, but like, I mean, I don't know. The thing about doing things like this every week is that you need the material, which means you lot have got to go out and make it.
In a way, it's kind of like I think that quite a bit goes into preparing it, just getting everyone's tracks together, but also it is essentially the community making the content.
And so you need to rely on that.
Yeah.
And it's but as we were saying earlier, before the show started, was that I think people get a real kick out of needing to get something done by a certain time.
Yeah,
I think
having that deadline.
People like deadlines, and I think it's also like a really, really good exercise as well, because all of the things that not you personally, but one can pontificate about when it comes to getting stuff finished, you've got to throw it out the window if someone needs something by a certain day.
Yeah.
And it's a really good way for you to get past all of those things where you're kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this. It's like, no one cares. You need it done yesterday.
Yeah.
So they're good practices for developing the decision making in order to get to the end.
And like having to create on demand, I think there is definitely merit to that. And sometimes as like an artist or creative, you can feel like, I can't work to a deadline, or it happens when it happens, or inspiration comes when it comes. But I think it's the opposite. Actually, you kind of have to make it work on, when it needs to work. When you need to bring it, it needs to be brought. And I do a lot of like video editing stuff for work. And that's been a real eye-opener I've learned a lot doing that, because I'm kind of not bothered about it in a way, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm not creatively too invested in it. So I just make the thing and it's done and it goes out. And it's been a good skill to kind of exercise in that I'm doing creative things to a deadline that I'm not necessarily, I don't invest my entire soul and being in doing this thing, but it's also creative stuff that's produced on a timeline to a deadline. It goes out when it needs to go out, and that's a good skill to practice, having a deadline like this. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, like I don't really have many of those when it comes to music, because I'm not signed to a record label and I release music when I want to. And I don't give myself deadlines, and as a result, I don't make much music. But when I've been in the position, when I did that album for Ben in Hong Kong, he messaged me out of the blue and said, do you remember a couple of years ago I asked you to make that album?
Yeah.
And I went, oh yeah. He was like, yeah. Can you give it to me in 4 weeks? I was like, yeah, I can. And then very quickly I was like, no, I can't. And then I did, and I actually did it in 2 weeks, because it was just like, and that was probably the first time I'd really had that experience of like, I have to just get this done. I can't just sit around thinking about, is this work? Does this what? And a lot of it, I think, is awful. But I don't care, because I just raced through it so quickly because the guy wants to.
It's not for you in a way, It's not.
No, exactly. It wasn't. It was for him. He wanted it, and I mean, me and him have a very good relationship, and he's pretty cool, and he doesn't mind what I do. But at the same time, I was thinking, I can't let this guy down.
Yeah.
Like I can't. He needs it now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think these things definitely, do good things for people who are, a little on the fence about, should I do this or not?
Yeah, should I send this to someone? Should I expose myself in this way creatively? Yeah. Do it, folks. Yeah. But okay, this is called Ceci You Want, and I think it's by Michael McKenna. I think that was the name of the person who sent this to me. But and this is I've got another jungle one, I think, here, but this will close us out, so we'll have a few comments to say goodbye.
Take a lead. When all guns smoke, them want you to pick up yourself, Got a rough neck top, coming back at you. From a distance, you smell them about the Caligari, man. Hear this. Well, if that's where you want, tell them we run that. The amount of stress where you can't run out. That's what we tell them. That's where you want, tell them we run that. The amount of stress where you can't run out. That's what you see there. That's where you want, tell them we run that. The amount of stress where you can't run out. That's what we tell them. That's where you want, tell them we run that. The amount of stress where you can't.
Yo, check this out. this out.
Yeah, there we go. That was Cess You Want. I'm trying to remember the. I'm just going to see if I can find the producer.
Was that the Jackson 5? Was there a Jackson 5 sample in there?
Potentially during the middle. Yeah.
Sounded like a very young Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's Michael McKenna is who sent me that. Oh, Mike. Yeah. I've got some notes on it actually. With this track, I was really just trying to keep close to the old school ways of production. I used old soul reggae samples, the Akai test tone bass, and chopped the drums with a lot of thanks to your YouTube vid. I took massive inspiration from M-Beat for this. You'll probably recognise a few samples he's used throughout my track. So, yeah, I think that gave the kind of authentic jungle flavour, well, very well. That came through strong in that track. Would you agree, Ned?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the great things about all of these tracks and doing this was that it's really good to sort of hear tracks by people who are quite determined to go in a specific direction. I think some places along the way we've heard some things that were a little bit like, whoa.
Yeah.
But generally they've been like I get the impression that these people want to make certain types of tracks, and I think they've like all done really well. Like it like very in comparison, and because of that, it's actually sort of a little bit like more engaging for me to think about what possible feedback I could give. Whereas when I've kind of done things like this on my channel, like a couple of times I've had just people just send me in tracks and I've listened to them, and as good as they are, they're all so fucking weird. It's just so difficult to know what to say. It's like, this track is so weird. What can I possibly say? You made a really weird track. But with these, it's kind of like you can sort of focus in on things because, you know, they have quite a clear direction. And because, you know, me and you like similar sort of music, you know, and we attract people who like similar sort of music.
Yeah.
So it's kind of because I was a little bit kind of like, I don't really know if I'm going to be able to do this because I don't know if I've got the chops or whatever. But yeah, as I say, when you've got like a handful of stuff where it's kind of like, this is the vibe, this is where these people want to go, then it's a little bit easier to hone in on certain things. And yeah, it's I've really enjoyed it. I'd love to do it again.
Thank you. I think that really encapsulates things well, actually. And you know, I'm equally like kind of touched by what people submit to listen for us to listen to, because you know, sometimes you can hear comparisons with your own music and stuff, and it's you can see why people might have wanted to, you know, put music forward, and it's like it's like a privilege, isn't it, to be able to offer feedback on people's music from some kind of position. You know.
Honestly, I kind of think, why would anyone care what I fucking think? Yeah. Like, I haven't won Grammys.
You make some pretty sick tunes though, and you've
I've made a fit, but like, oh yeah, all right, but like I'm not. It's sort of so I kind of I don't know. Maybe I'm sort of maybe I think I'm being modest, but that's really just what I think. I just kind of think like, really what? But now that I've done it, I'm a little bit like I like I said earlier, I do sort of enjoy actually kind of talking about some of the things that can go into
I think you elucidate
narrative structure and all that sort of stuff, and that's all stuff that I enjoy. And
I think you elucidate that, or like your thoughts on that, really well, and it's really, really helpful to people. Like and it's not just helpful to the producers, but like more generally to apply to, for anyone to apply to their music. So whether or not it was your track we were talking about, like, I think the points are relevant to any piece of music, really, you know. So
yeah. Also, I'm so amazed that like some of the, like, I mean, even just thinking that track we just heard, with the is that the Jackson 5? I'm just amazed that people can just find these things and put them in tracks and make it work. I just can't do stuff like that. There's so many times when I've thought to myself like, oh, I'd love to sample this bit from John Barry or something, or I hear something and I'm just like, I'd love to sample that, and then whenever I sit down and do it, I can't do anything with it.
It's funny, isn't it? Yeah, but like you have like other strengths, you know. And
I think it's just because I hear people do it and I think that's cool, I want to do it, and then I kind of go, I can't really.
I can't. Yeah.
I'll just do what I can do.
But I can.
But I mean, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, carry on.
No, go on. No. You
well, I was going to say I can stick 100 auto filters on, you know, with loads of LFOs and just make something really insane. That's the kind of thing you might that I think people.
Yeah, my thing is just kind of, I'll just put loads of crap on it and then that'll do. But like, like earlier on, like the one that we had with the female vocal and the piano and all that sort of stuff. And I know we're trying to wrap up, but I just want to sort of
no, carry on. Yeah, carry on.
Like the other day, I was chatting with one of my guys, and he had this idea going where he'd sort of got all of these various bits from all of these different tracks. And I was like, well, this is really great, but they are all ever so slightly out of tune. We've got to sort them out, otherwise it's going to sound awful. And, you know, and I was kind of thinking, and I was really excited with the solution that we came up with. But because I was kind of thinking we're gonna have to go into every single one, work out what the key is, and just do a fine tune. We just put auto shift
on everything.
and it sounded amazing. And I started thinking, like, what a really good idea. Like, why not actually just go out and find loads of stuff that's really out of tune with each other and put them all together and all auto tune them to the same key and see what happens.
This is why people come to you.
But it feels like a kind of next logical. I'm sure someone's done it already because autotune's been around for 20.
Have they though? Have they?
Now.
Have they?
I don't know, but it's very much in that sort of. What was that album that in the early 2000s that got an award that was all made with samples? I can't remember who it was by. I can't remember who it was. I don't want to
say again. Sorry, I was
the
distracted.
Avalanches. Was it Avalanches? He's as crazy as a coconut.
Yeah, maybe.
Showing my age now.
Yeah.
The Avalanches. Anyway, like it feels like the next evolution of that. Of like, you can get all of these different. Again, there's that word, disparate sources together, and auto tune them. But then not only can you get them all in tune, you can like completely reharmonize them and turn them into something else. That was sort of something I was thinking about doing at some point. But then I need to go and get the samples, which isn't my. I've never been one of those digger types, Like some people are.
You got to have I think you got to put aside time to do that.
Put aside some time.
Yeah. Like sometimes I just I sit down and I'm like, right, I'm just going to do sampling for 2 hours, and I've got loads of playlists on YouTube and on Spotify and on Instagram, loads of save posts, and I just go through and I sample as much as I can and chop it up and save it. And that is the session. But it is actually proper time consuming. It takes you can spend 2 hours and end up with 5 samples, but
Yeah. It's kind of, I don't really know how much if that's the type of time I want to put in.
I think that
could just sit down on the piano and just go.
Yeah. Or stick a load of random stuff, stick a load of random crap on and just. Yeah.
So
cool.
Well, there you go.
I think we'll wrap up, shall we?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for giving up your evening, giving up your time to do this.
Not
really
at all.
Appreciate that.
I had a great. Yeah, I enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, and also thank you to the producers, everyone who submitted music, and we'll definitely do this again in a couple of months if you're up for it.
If anyone wants to post their music on my Discord, I have a post your music channel on my Discord. If I can I post the link to that?
Of course you can. Yeah,
Can I post that in the
chat?
Chat room?
Yeah. Go ahead, please.
That works.
I
do like checking out. It's people. It's not a spam channel at all. People are just posting stuff. It's a nice little spot to post your own stuff and see what other people have posted.
Yeah. Thanks, Ned. And also I do have one on my Discord too. There are links in the description to that. But cool, yeah. Thanks to everyone who's took the leap and sent their music in, because it can be quite daunting if you've never done it before. But we had a lot of fun listening and talking about it. So do another one in the new year, I reckon, if you're up for it.
Yeah,
Ned.
Yeah, I'm up for it. Yeah.
Cool.
Definitely.
All right.
We can maybe get a third person.
That could be interesting, couldn't it? Yeah.
Have 3 of us.
Anyone in mind? We'll have to talk about that off stream.
Not at all. I've got no idea. I don't know.
No idea. No.
I don't know a third person.
But
we'll think of something.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you everyone. Thanks again. I won't be going live on Wednesday this week, as it's been pretty full on recently. I've had a lot of extra streams, so I'm gonna have a Wednesday off. But I'll be back on next week. Anything coming up for you, Ned? You live streaming at all, or any point, or?
I may live stream intermittently. I have 2 more Kicks and Friends coming up.
Yeah, cool.
I can't remember the dates though. The 23rd of November is Eden Gray. She is the guest host and curator. She's in Miami. And then I'm doing one myself on the 21st of December, the Christmas special.
Oh, definitely tune in for that one.
Got my Christmas lumberjack shirt all ready.
Yeah, I'll tune in. I'll sit and watch it in mine.
There'll be lots of Christmas fun and games.
Nice.
Things.
Put that in your diaries, everyone. 21st then.
But other than that, no, I ain't got anything on. I'm going to go and watch Helena Rice in London this Friday night, which I'm very excited about.
That should be fun.
The outernet.
Yeah. That's where Square Pusher played, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's where I wanted to see Square Pusher. I think it's got like the biggest indoor LED screen in London, I think.
That would be sick.
Really, yeah. I'm really excited about that. So if anyone's in London Friday night, I'll be there, Charing Cross Road.
Yeah, go
on. Have a beer.
You can't miss him. He's much taller in real life than you.
You can't miss me. I'll be wearing this shirt. Standing up like
he's about 6'7". All right. Okay. Thanks, everyone. We'll say good night now. Have a good one. And bye. See you later.